Join the community of more than 2 million Binomists who are investing online with Binomo. Start trading today with Binomo.
Hello, you're watching One India News, and I'm delighted to welcome you all to our new show, Never Say Die 2.0, where we speak to remarkable women in the Indian Armed Forces and learn about their journeys. Today, I'm really glad we have on the show with us a special guest who chose to join the forces at a time when it was still considered an unconventional profession for women. I'm really eager to speak to her and know about her journey in the army and how she thinks the army has evolved over the decades that she has been associated with it. I'm really happy talking to you, Major Nupur Gupta. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Ma'am, you were telling me that in your childhood, you were a rebellious kid, but a rebel with a cause. Do you think that somehow pushed you to join the army? What was your inspiration?
Generally we label the children because in case they don't behave what is expected as per our society, we label the children. I'll not say it was more of a rebel, but yes, I always had that something that I had to create a place for myself. Maybe a typical role of a housewife or a typical role that our society sees for the girl. That was not what I was carved for. So yes, I would say maybe a rebel with a cause, but then I had a totally different kind of a upbringing and different kind of a environment.
So speaking of your childhood, what kind of a child were you? I think were you stubborn? Were you always, you wanted things the way you had imagined? How did you convince your family? Were there always clashes?
No, generally there were clashes because I was not one of those who would follow whatever was told or an ideal child as we expect in society. So I was one of those, maybe I'll say the initial upbringing when I was a very small child was of a boys, because I'm a second child in the house and everybody expected the second child to be a boy. Unluckily or luckily, whatever one may say, I was a girl. So I was brought up like a boy for maybe 10, 11 years of age. And then all of a sudden, when you hit that puberty stage, they realized, oh, she's a girl. She's supposed to behave like them. She's supposed to talk like them. So all those things were coming in between, which possibly changed the way. My mindset was more of a tomboy. I used to play out. I used to be rolled in dust when I used to come back at home. So yes, there were situations which were developed, but later not accepted by society.
I see. So ma'am, when you decided you want to join the forces, what was your family's reaction and how did you manage to?
Very early, I felt that I need to create a place of my own in the society. And that is what motivated me. I am a national level volleyball player from the school. And then I represented university also. I have been in NCC, participated in Republic Day Parade, a trained pilot and a parasailer, and a lot of host of other things which you do as a NCC cadet. So that had built me that I am ready for going into pilot. And without actually much consent of my parents, through NCC only, I had applied for the second batch of women pilot in 93.
Okay.
However, when they got to know, it was a different scenario. Maybe my parents were still supportive, but the environment around was not as supportive.
On one hand, you're convincing your parents, and on another hand, it's quite a tough journey before joining.
Yes.
Also.
Unlike what we have today, like we have an entrance test and then we have SSB and then medical and then the merit list. At that point of time, there was no entrance test. We, based on, I think, our percentage in our graduation, we were given that opportunity if we are NCC candidates to go into the army, because number of people were not applying at that time. So we were given that opportunity. However, we had a GK test in the beginning itself, GK and English. If you qualify that, then you continue for next 7 days. If you don't qualify, you are sent back that very day. and then the SSB medical and all. And even after that, there is a merit list which comes out.
So, ma'am, considering you don't come from a military background, and so who inspired you, or did you have a role model growing up that said, I mean, whom you thought you would, by seeing whom you thought you want to join the army?
Okay. Who inspired me? I'll say I am my own inspiration, and I'll say मैं अपनी favorite हूँ. Because number of times when you see the society, there were a lot of people who came along with me, who supported that idea or who motivated me. But inspiration wise, I would say, if you recall, long time back, there used to be a serial by the name of Udan. And I think Kavita Chaudhary was the actress in it, and she was, this was based on the life of Kiran Bedi, as I assume. I have not read about it, but I used to see that serial as a child. So somewhere or the other, that inspiration to wear the uniform or to get that charm of uniform was there. But since I was already training for pilot, being a pilot was all the more because when I was small kid, I studied in a Air Force school, Hashimara.
Okay.
So there, some of my friends' father were pilots, and I had seen them picking up their children or sometime even coming to drop them up in the morning or so. So that uniform stayed with me somewhere, that this is something elite. And we had an aircraft in front of our school. So that was something that I always wanted to sit in that cockpit and be a pilot there. To the extent when I was kid, my parents generally make fun of it. I used to say, if I don't become a pilot, get me married to a pilot.
Oh, okay. Wow. What was the training process like for you? Do you have some memories that really changed you as a person? Because I know the whole training itself changes you, transforms you, but any particular instances?
So training was same as any other officer goes through. So there is no difference in the parameters that girls will go through a different training or a boys will go through a different training. No, it is set, and generally we are following the same patterns that the US Army or any other army across the world are following for males and females. One particular incident we remember, our batch was, since being the initial batches, we had an issue that the girls were not posted in the, I'll say, active areas. And I come from Corps of Engineers. So that time the issue was that the girls will be only posted in MES, or they would be posted in the administrative role. So when we joined, and we were seven of us in the Corps of Engineers, we fought for the issue that we should be given an opportunity to go to the regiments. Like male officers, when they get commissioned, they are given the regiments. However, females were not given regiment. So we spoke to the commandant, we spoke to the other generals who visited and all. And the challenge was that there is a last camp where we have a 40-kilometer walk. And the challenge was given to us that if you complete in the given time with all the females along with you and you finish that task, we will consider discussing about that. And that camp itself was a difficult. Even many of the officers find it difficult to cover that whole course. And we had some of the females who got ill or some other issues, or they were not able to finish it. So we had to carry the equipment, we had to carry our team members, we had to carry our own loads, which was supposed to be. So this was one, I feel, yes, was challenging for us, but we had to take, like, you cannot leave anything behind. It's a family, you have to take everybody. And that was, I think, one major challenge, I feel, that finishing that task so that our issue can be taken up.
Ma'am, would you like to share some experiences from your service days? What kind of challenges did you face then? You were one of the first women in the forces, so to speak.
There's one very interesting incident. I think it was my first posting, and we had gone to ENC branch. Since we were new in the environment, and it was that teething issues, I personally did not face any much of a challenge as far as the work is concerned. It was about the environment, because people were still, or my colleagues were still not aware of how they are going to handle the women. On one side, there is a lot of respect for the women in the army. And when I'm talking about women in the army, as a lady wife, as a daughter, as a mother. But having a female as your colleague was still a newer concept. So there was one, I think, high tea. Somebody was coming in or somebody was going out, something like this. And we had a high tea kind of affair. And the ENC, or I think the general who was there at that point of time, he told, ma'am, you first. Because that is the protocol we all have been following for the ladies. And for me, it was so embarrassing because I was that lieutenant sahab with a single sitara. I must be the youngest of the lot everywhere, and everybody, the whole crowd was waiting that when I pick up my plate of tea and the others will. So on one side, it was challenging the decorum, what the army follows, because it's generally the senior most and then the others follow. On other side, it was that the general was not ready to take his plate before I take. So yes, those small issues of everyday life, which were bringing all of us together, and to understand how the dynamics will change when we have women in the army, was what was interesting. Other than that, possibly I did not find much of a challenge as far as work is concerned. Whatever was told to us, we are supposed to do it and we are trained to do it, so we did.
Post-service, I would like to ask you, ma'am, what did you do after you hung up the uniform? And did your military training help you in the civilian world?
At the outset, I must say, whatever I am today, because I come from a totally non-services background, whatever I am today, I give the credit to Army. And whatever confidence, whatever persona I have, whatever I am doing, there are a lot of things which are taught to you in the services. And it is not just about the training. It is about the environment. It is about the family. It is about the people. It is about your men. And you are told that before you do anything for yourself, your country, your men, they come first and you come the last when it comes to looking after yourself. So, yes, my training, my leadership skill, my team building, my work environment, the kind of skills that I carry with me. I'm a corporate trainer and academician. So I am taking care of teaching the MBA students. And I am also a part of corporate training where I go and train the management employees of different levels, depending upon what is their requirement. So yes, I feel I'm all gratitude to the Army that whatever I'm today. And since moving out from Army was concerned, when I left the Army, we still did not have that permanent commission option.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I think at that point of time, we maximum had an option. I was about to finish my 10-year service and they said maximum you have is 4 years. So 14 years of the total service was given to us as an option. And since I was always career oriented, I took that option that I would like to withdraw from this service, not because I do not see the services as the right career option, but I took that option because it's easier for me to adjust in the environment when I'm in 30s.
Yes, yes.
So I left the services in 10 years. I joined a course from IIM Lucknow and then came into, I started my profession post the Army as a corporate trainer. I have been a leadership consultant with Persona Global and Worldview Consulting with the CATS Academy. And then I moved into academics of teaching MBA students. I'm still doing the same.
I want to ask you now, what would your message to young girls joining the forces now at this stage be? And what would your message to boys be who should now expect women, more and more women as their colleagues and the society at large?
Let's go one by one. First is for the message for the society at large. That today, any career does not have any restrictions till the time parents support. The biggest challenge for any girl is to fight or have a conflict with the family members. So they should support. Do not let anybody define what your child is going to do. And many a times we say, log kya kahenge? And here I would like to quote a song from movie Sanju. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना, whether you do good or whether you do bad, invariably please take it in your stride. If your children are the most loved ones for you, let them do what they want. I am not saying let them get spoiled. They should have a responsible career, they should study, they should go in a right direction, but do support them. And trust me, as a child, I can say, or even as today, I am not looking for an appreciation from my society. But yes, the day my parents, my husband, my in-laws come back and say that you have done well, that makes a lot of difference to any individual more than anybody else. So the parents should come out of that mentality that what will log say? Please support your child. Please be with your child, because nobody else can take your place. Rest of the people will come and talk away and leave the situation. We still have to fight as a family together. So this is what I would like to convey to the society. For boys, I'll say it is the equal flow. Compete. If you are better, you win. If somebody else is better, the person takes the place. The gender should not make a difference whether you are competing. Yes, there may be a situation where all the career options were open for boys and the girls were not there. But you name a thing. Today you talk of academics. Today you talk of sports. Today you talk of any field. Girls are outshining boys because that fire to perform, the fire to show that, yes, you can do something, is what is there in the girls, because they have been imposed with a lot of restrictions. So take it as an equal playing field, compete, keep yourself trained, and also find out whether you stand or let the girls stand out if you can't compete. So this is my message to the boys. And for the girls, the motto of the Corps of Engineers is Sarvatra. And I feel there is hardly any field where women are not entering in. So yes, make yourself unique and be available at everywhere and serve with honor. Whatever you are doing, do it with honor. Most of the time, the ladies have a conflict. If I'm not looking after my children, if I'm not looking after my family, am I living in a guilt? No. Whatever you're doing, do best wherever you are, whether you are a homemaker, whether you are a professional, whether you are in games, do that. But something which I would like to see, say, मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है, पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों में उड़ान होती है. So do not let anybody define what is there for you. Create your own definition where you want to be. I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here.